If you have been struggling with insomnia, chances are that you have heard of CBT-I, or cognitive behavioral therapy for insomnia. It is known as the gold standard treatment for sleep, or specifically insomnia. But is it really the best approach for you? For today, I'm going to deep dive into what CBT-I is, what works, and what I personally think doesn't work, and what you can actually do instead if you feel like these techniques haven't been working. If you are new to my channel, my name is Fiona. I am a recovered chronic insomniac turned holistic sleep coach, and I help other people overcome insomnia naturally. If you have at any point Googled how to fix your insomnia, you have most likely come across CBT-I. CBT-I is widely applied by doctors, sleep specialists, and also therapists as the most effective non-pharmacological way out of insomnia. And whilst I personally believe that CBT-I can be very helpful for many people, it can also be quite damaging for others. So in this video, I'm going to break down what CBT-I is, and from my own perspective, what works, what doesn't work, and if you find yourself in that kind of position, what you can actually do instead. And if CBT-I is new to you, CBT-I, or as I have mentioned, cognitive behavioral therapy for insomnia, is a structured, evidence-based, kind of therapeutical approach to fixing your relationship with sleep. It aims to challenge your thoughts and behaviors around sleep itself, and it is specifically focusing on 5 main pillars. Those pillars are the following. Number 1 is sleep education. CBT-I aims to demystify sleep and to help the individual understand how sleep happens and how we are potentially preventing it from happening. So it reduces anxiety and the buildup around it. Principle number 2 is stimulus control. This is the idea that you are breaking the association of the bedroom as being a place of wakefulness. This means that you are only going to bed when you're sleepy, you're getting out of bed within 15 minutes if you cannot fall asleep, and you're only using the bed for either intimacy or sleep itself. The bedroom is basically seen as this sacred space where sleep is the only thing that is meant to happen in it. Principle number 3, which is also the most controversial topic around CBT-I, is sleep restriction therapy, which basically aims to limit your time in bed to match the amount of time that you are actually sleeping. Over time, the intention here is that your sleep efficiency improves and you're gradually increasing how much sleep you are getting over time. And as much as this may be helpful for some people, this can actually add quite a lot of stress and restriction to a lot of people, which we'll also get into a little bit later in this video. Principle number 4 is known as cognitive restructuring, and it involves identifying and challenging negative thoughts that you may have around sleep. So things like, if I don't get 8 hours, I won't function, or my sleep is broken forever. So instead, CBT-I aims to help the individual neutralize these thoughts into more positive ones in order to reduce sleep anxiety over time. And principle number 5 is teaching the individual different relaxation training techniques with the intention and purpose of reducing hyperarousal and sleep anxiety over time. These can be things like breath work or progressive muscle relaxation, meditation practices, yoga, etc. Now that we have a bit of a deeper understanding on CBT-I, I want to share a little bit of my own perspective based on my own experience or my own recovery experience with insomnia, as well as my sleep coaching clients, as to what aspects of CBT-I I personally agree with and actually even love. Number 1 is education. I personally believe that this is the first and primary pillar for recovery, because how would you recover from something that you cannot understand? Insomnia is a cycle. It is a misidentified threat of wakefulness. And once you understand what is actually happening, how sleep actually works, what is potentially getting in your own way, you can slowly start working with yourself instead of against yourself to slowly break the patterns of wakefulness and also hyperarousal. The second thing that I also somewhat agree with, but I'd like to also rephrase, is cognitive restructuring. I personally don't believe that you can change your thoughts, but you can learn to understand them, and you can also learn to understand which thoughts you can pay attention to versus which ones you can ignore. I believe that CBT-I has this whole intention where you can identify negative thoughts around sleep and try and restructure and change them, whereas my personal opinion is and approach is one based on where you can allow yourself to have those thoughts and learn what thoughts you can and cannot pay attention to or want to pay attention to. And based on acceptance and commitment therapy techniques, we are educated on the fact that thoughts are something that are automatic and that we cannot control, but we have two decisions once a thought emerges. Either you obey and struggle with the thought, meaning you are at the mercy of uncomfortable thoughts around sleep, or you can purposefully choose to ignore it and get on with your life and do something else better worthy of your time. The third thing I also agree with is relaxation techniques. However, I believe that relaxation techniques have a place in insomnia recovery as a means to get comfortable with uncomfortable situations. I believe that the dialogue around relaxation techniques being something that can induce sleep is incorrect, but we can definitely utilize tools such as breath work or nervous system regulation to start understanding that we are not actually in a position of threat, even though we feel like we might be. And now jumping into where I believe CBT-I can also fall short. So I definitely believe that CBT-I can be highly effective for some people, but other areas I also think that this kind of approach can be too rigid and also counterintuitive or counterproductive at times. The number one thing that I also do not agree with is sleep restriction therapy. Although this may add ease for some people, or like restricting your time in bed may increase your sleep drive or your desire to sleep, this does not guarantee that you are actually going to sleep during those hours. In fact, when we are already highly controlling around sleep and how sleep has to happen, adding more rigidity and rules can sometimes trigger more hyperarousal and more anxiety around sleep itself. It can also mean that sleep feels very restrictive, that sleep has to happen under certain parameters. And I personally believe that once you fix your relationship to sleep, sleep can happen at any place and at any time. The second thing that I highly disagree with is this idea of sleep hygiene obsession. And while sleep hygiene may be helpful to improve your sleep quality, if you already cannot sleep, I really feel like it's actually more counterintuitive and counterproductive rather than productive. Sleep hygiene can be things like no screens before bed, avoiding coffee until the late afternoon hours, having the perfect bedroom setup, having a calming pre-bed routine, and all of these things imply the controllability of sleep. And whilst the intention may be a positive one of creating an environment where you feel relaxed and at ease, many times inducing more rules and restrictions around sleep in the bedroom can most likely cause quite a lot more anxiety. And again, this fear that sleep is something that needs to be controlled under certain restrictive behaviors. If you've already arrived at this part of this video, you're probably also thinking, well, if CBT-I doesn't work for me, then what does? And this is where I believe that CBT-I combined with acceptance and commitment therapy, or ACT, to be the best way forwards. And it has the following few principles that you may want to consider. Number one thing I believe to be super helpful is letting go of sleep efforts. This means that instead of forcing sleep to happen under specific strict rules, you're actually allowing sleep to happen naturally. This means reducing anxiety by removing the pressure to sleep, by accepting wakefulness when it happens, and 3, engaging in relaxation activities without the expectation of having sleep be that outcome. Second thing that I would personally encourage you to be aware of is something called the timeless night. This means that you are moving away from sleep restriction and creating a space where you can slowly start to listen to your body's natural ability to sleep, your natural sleep cues. This starts by setting a consistent wake-up time every single day, including on the weekends. This is going to help regulate your sleep drive and circadian rhythm. Then every single night, you're going to set a time where you're going to stop looking at the clock. This isn't a hard and kind of, cut off rule. My approach is one that is a little bit more gentle, offers self-compassion. We are not expected to be perfect throughout this process, but in setting a time every single night where you're no longer going to look at the clock allows you to come back to a place where you can trust your body slowly giving you the cues. You are moving away from tracking and monitoring the clock every single waking hour of the night when you cannot sleep. And the last thing that I would also encourage you to look into that comes from ACT is allowing yourself to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. Realistically, we cannot control our thoughts, and this is an uncomfortable situation. And the more you try and push that discomfort away, the more you're going to feel like you need to control sleep. In fact, sleep is something that can never be controlled. And the more you can allow sleep to happen naturally, the more you can learn to understand where these thoughts come from, then the more you will find your natural body's ability to give you what it needs. That pretty much concludes this video. So as you already know, CBT-I could be an amazing approach for you, but if you feel like it may be on the restrictive side, that is also completely okay. I would definitely encourage you to look into these ACT principles, which really are a more gentle approach to how to tackle those specifically, I guess, sleep anxieties around the fact that you are not sleeping. If you liked this video and you would like to kickstart your journey, I do have a 5 days to better sleep email series linked below. It is packed with all of the information that I wish I had found when I was first struggling with insomnia. And if you like this video, please go ahead and give me a like and maybe even drop me a comment. This really helps me spread the word on insomnia and help other people who are also struggling with the same. Anyway, if you ever want me to cover anything specific, please feel free to reach out. This channel is for you, not for me.